Processed food, one of the things that happen to us is that it sticks to the wall of the colon. Food that has no bulk to it, and food that is lifeless, processed, has no bulk to it. All the bulk and life has been taken out of it. And so now what begins to happen is it sticks to the wall of the colon. Unless you move that waste out of the colon, you cannot get well, because the good food cannot get through. Yes, you will get some results, but until you get the bad food out of the body, you will not be able to have any great degree of health. One of the next pictures I want to show you is a nice, healthy colon. This is a beautiful colon. This is the way God intended for us to live. This is that picture of a nice, healthy colon. It is where all of our solid waste accumulates. Now, we know that Ronald Reagan, not too awful long ago, had 2 feet of this beautiful colon taken out. From here to about here, it was removed from the president. Probably cost the taxpayers $6 million. For $6.50, he could have done the same thing with an herb called Cascara sagrada. But the whole point is, this is the healthy colon. This is a true healthy colon. It's about 7 feet long, about 2.5 inches round. It is the world's most sophisticated garbage disposal system. It is not a cesspool. It is not intended to store waste at all. And what we need to do is, if you learn how to get the waste out of the body, if you simply learn how to get the waste out of the colon, your health will get from 50 to 70% times better just by doing that. Anything else you add to it is icing on the cake. Keep in your mind this picture. This is the picture of a healthy colon. And so if you keep this in your mind, this is what you will want in your body. Because in a minute we're going to show you pictures of a colon that is not so healthy. What processed food does to our colon. America, awaken. It is time for each individual to start to take care of its own body. This is the unit in which you have your being, and it is the only thing that you own. Everything else that you own now was here when you got here. And when you check off this planet, you're going to have to leave it here. Okay? The body is the only thing that we brought here. And it is where we have our being. It is a part of the creation. It is the most important part of God's creation. We are to return it to the master, minus of wear and tear, in the best shape that we can put it in. Okay? And that is what this story is about today, is just how basically to take care of that colon. The colon is your ally. We are treating it as though it is our enemy. In all the years that we've eaten bad, it has done everything it can do to keep us alive. If you give it that much, it'll give you that much. Every time. If you just give it any kind of health at all, if you start to cleanse it, it will give you the greatest degree of health there is. But let me tell you one other thing, and if you only hear one thing that I say, hear this. If you don't clean the colon, there is absolutely nothing that you can do to get well. I don't care how elaborate that it is, the practice is. I don't care how much money it costs. If you don't clean the colon, you cannot get well. Did you know obesity is storing your own waste? When that waste gets loose into the bloodstream circulates the body 9 times a minute. And it drops that waste in every cell in the body. This is the reason for eyeglasses. This is the reason for headaches. This is the reason for hearing loss. This is the reason for your hair falling out, is because the colon waste is in the bloodstream. If you awaken to that and start to clean the waste out of the colon, not the bloodstream, out of the colon, clean the waste out of the colon, it will stop leaking into the bloodstream, and then you can get on with some serious business of cleaning up the bloodstream. But the first thing you must do is cleanse the colon. Let me tell you something. It may be 20 years from now and you're on your deathbed when that comes to you. Now is the time to start to cleanse the colon. The reason why we are so sick is because of the food, the processed food that we eat. All of the fast food places adds nails to our coffin. The medicine worsens the condition that we have already started. Let me tell you something. The medical profession themselves are absolutely baffled by why we are so sick. They wonder why the medicine doesn't work. They're as baffled as we are, as the individual person is, because medicine is not working. We're living proof that it doesn't work. The side effects alone will tell you that it doesn't work. And so it's up to us individually to take. That's not telling you to stop taking your medicine, because that's not what I'm about. I didn't prescribe your medicine for you. I'm just telling you there is an alternative. The next tape we will do will be on the cure. What our problems are and how they can be remedied. Because if you're overweight, if you've got glaucoma, if you've got high blood pressure, low blood pressure, emphysema, asthma, no matter what it is, it has its root in the colon. And if you don't clean up the colon, you will not get well. Now I'd like to show you a picture here of what happens to the colon when we decide that we're going to eat this processed food. Here are some pictures of the colon. I hope the camera is hanging in there with me. But this is pictures of a nice, healthy colon. This is some of the things called the ballooned sigmoid colon here. That's what this is here, the ballooned sigmoid. When the sigmoid colon becomes ballooned, what begins to happen to us is we begin to have problems in the genital area. For females, you now begin to have problems with the menstrual cycle. Men start having problems with the prostate problem, because this part of the colon happens to be hooked up to the rest of the body that represents those parts. This part of the body even affects the mammary glands, the breast of women. Okay? This is just one of the things that can begin to happen. We move down here a little bit farther, and you can see what is, we all have heard the term colitis. This is what colitis looks like. Colitis is that balloon part, but below it is also a pinch. Okay? Now we get into diverticula. Diverticula being pockets in the colon. These little pockets fill up with tremendous amounts of gas and causes us to have gas all the time. And the gas can get so bad sometimes that we actually feel as though we're having a heart attack. If this will push this colon upward toward the heart, that's exactly what it will do. Make us feel as though we're having a heart attack. Now we get into the spasms. This is the kind of things that begin to happen to us when we eat and we're angry, or we're supposed to eat in total peace and quiet. But things like being angry and things like this creates problems where the colon will be in normal shape, but down here it will be closed up. And this also stops the eliminative process. Now we can't eliminate the waste from the colon. And the stricture is about the same thing as the spasm. It is just that there is a stricture here, and then there's a size of the colon and the way it should be. And then down here you'll find another stricture. These are the things that really begin to happen to us. When we come back again here, we're going to show you the colon that does the absolute worst. The absolute worst thing to us. We'll get back to that a little later. In the meantime now, let's talk just a little bit more about what happens to us when we begin keeping this waste inside of the body. We cannot successfully store the waste. If you want to know if I'm lying, I tell you what you do. Stop in at your nearby friendly neighborhood hospital. Everybody in there is trying to get well without cleansing the colon. And every now and then, they throw the white sheet over one of them's face and roll them down into the morgue.